Welcome back. It's the Plowboi podcast back at you once again. It's been a little time. We shouldn't have left you, but we back now. Episode 12. Plowing real deep tonight. All these Plowboys got their own topics for you. Real interesting. I got that K-Dog. I got that Cabiz with me. I got that DOC and B-Dot. And I'm G Meezy. And we the Plowboys. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. I got my big aunt want to talk to us tonight about a topic that he been thinking about. He want everybody's input. So Unc, I'm gonna leave it to you, man.
Outcasted from my family. It seem like the world don't understand me. Baby, can we all get along? Cause one day you hear the next day you're gone. Feel the song cause there's a lot of G's doing time. Railroaded by the system doing 99. But I'm a grind cause everybody know time's hard. I don't bark cause I'm watched over by the Lord. Live by the sword and baby that's how you die. They say G's don't.
I'm gonna pose the first question. Have you ever been incarcerated or arrested or ever worked at a correctional facility and it changed your life for the better? You know, we seeing a lot of our people getting locked up, you know, the young generation. And I want to pose this question to my nephews and see how did they handle the situation, so people out there that's looking can maybe take notes and see, you know, what path to take in life. You know, what path not to take. Okay, I'm gonna go with, let's go with B-Dot with first.
Correctional facilities are probably a needed aspect of, or has been a needed aspect in our society for, I don't know, probably a long time. I've never really looked at the date or the time that it actually began, who was the first person incarcerated. I think that it shifts society. It does give a sort of a fear factor. Without incarceration, the only thing you have to fear in life is hell, like in terms of a negative situation. So if you don't have, if you live in and you don't have no negative consequences, the only thing you got to worry about is when you die, whether you're gonna go to hell or not. So to me, incarceration is sort of like the hell on earth type of deal. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the hell for the living, you know, because it takes away basically all your freedom. I think it's a needed aspect in society because you gotta have a situation where when laws are broken, there's a time period where somebody sits down. And I've worked in a semi-incarceration type situation. I've worked in behavioral health, which I think everybody knows behavioral health is not necessarily like jail, but you are in a locked facility. Whereas, you know, you're not under like prison guards and stuff like that, but it's a situation where it's an enclosed environment, it's a locked environment. And within that environment, you learn a lot, man, as an employee, because you have an opportunity to see people who are going through things and don't have their freedom at the time that they're going through it. So in a lot of cases, they do turn to like the Bible. You know, a lot of the group sessions turn into like Bible sessions, holding on to their faith, turning toward their faith, and rekindling a start with their faith, whatever that may be. Because I've heard many stories. You know, it's not always Catholic or it's not always Protestant. It's been many different. But from that topic standpoint, that's really all I have to interject.
Right. So that was like a mental hospital facility?
Yeah, I pretty much my entire healthcare career as a nurse has been in mental health. That's 27 years now. I started in Houma as a mental health technician. And then, once I became a nurse, I started working in other aspects of healthcare within the mental health and behavioral health setting. So in those cases, in pretty much every single hospital in mental health on an inpatient level, it's a locked facility. So like I said, it's not prison. It's not guards walking around, but it's 24-hour observation and monitoring under medical supervision, where you have doctors and nurses and nurses assistants and people that are working inside the hospital setting. So it's not jail, but it's a loss of freedom, or temporary loss of freedom. It could be kind of compared to that, where someone obviously who's going through some challenging times in their life, it'll make them, it'll make you reach back and lean on faith to try to get straight, to try to straighten out. And a lot of times in mental health situations, there's chemical dependence, drug abuse, alcoholism that's involved. It may not be the primary thing that's part of that person's history, but sometimes that's involved in it too. So from a mental health to substance abuse type treatment.
All right, good answer. Let's move on over to Kabis. I want to hear what Kabis got to say. H-Town Hustler.
Yeah, man. Man, to me, it's like with anything else. It's good and bad. It's pros and cons. It's positives, negatives. So it's like, it's two sides to the coin. It's called the Department of Corrections, but it really don't correct you. It just teach you how to be worse. You know what I mean? So it's like, you think about a guy who go to jail for the first time. He lived his life, whatever he was doing in whatever area he was in. Get arrested, whatever, go get locked up. Now he got access to all of the other people who live a criminal lifestyle. You know what I mean? And he wouldn't have never met them. So I think it's a problem. It's a problem that's caused by a bigger problem. So the bigger problem is, basically crime. But even that's kind of like a catch-22, because you have laws that's not really just laws. Like black people used to get arrested for, stuff all the time. That wasn't necessarily something that was hurting somebody else, but it was just a means to an end to put them in that position. Then you got real like criminals, like banditos and stuff that's like robbing, killing, hurting people. So to that effect, it's necessary to be there. You know what I mean? But the effect is that the original was, people knocking people's heads over and stuff. But then you can go into a deeper thought about like the war on drugs. Like, is that something that's hurting people? Because like crack, heroin, that type of stuff, it's killing people. You know what I mean? So that needs to be put to a stop. But then they mess with you on like weed and, prescription pills, which you can still get arrested for. But it's like, that's manufactured. And it's out legal to the public if you got a prescription. So, I mean, as far as being locked up, like for me, it can change you. For me, I feel like it made me worse. Like I went in there under like some, kind of wishy-washy circumstances because I didn't have a good lawyer. And it basically was an education in the wrong way, in the wrong direction. You know what I mean? It's like it teach you how to do stuff you wouldn't have never learned how to do had you never been in there in the first place. So from that aspect, from like a being in there aspect, I feel like it's a better way to do it, but that's just the way it is right now. And it's really up to the individual to have that mind frame to know that that's not a place you want to go. He hit the nail right on the head about like this kind of like hell on earth. It's like when you die, God put you in hell forever. It's like if you mess up on earth, they put you in jail for however long and then you leave. So, I mean, I think it can correct you or it can make you worse. It's really about you and how you handle it.
Yeah, so we seeing what the question is I'm trying to get you to talk to the youth. We seeing a lot of our youth just throwing their lives away. We watch the news every night and we seeing these cats, going and shoot up somebody's house, and next thing you know, they headed out to Angola for about 30 years. So I'm trying to help them by saying, like, yeah, I know you done went through the situation. Did you turn more toward God when you got locked up, or did you just, like you say, did you go the other way? And what can they expect once they hit, them prison walls and out there.
I mean, it is. It's basically the regular world on 10. You may run into a guy, whatever y'all, if y'all have a disagreement, whatever, it's like, okay, y'all just, hey, what's up, man, what up, boo, boo? And y'all just, it break off and y'all go y'all separate way. It ain't no go your separate way when you in there. So you bump into a guy and he like, hey, man, what the fuck wrong with you? You gotta live, y'all gotta eat together, all of it. So it's like, you can't get away from the situation. So it changed your mind and changed the way you think. Yeah. I mean, the ultimate for me, and it's like, this is one thing I wish it would stop being so idolized to where people like, oh man, the people who can survive it and go in there and come back out, because there's people that's never come out of there. So it's like, if you a type of person who went in there and came out of there, you kind of like, oh my God, he did this, he did that. And it's really not. It's like, it's being glorified and it shouldn't be. Yeah, it shouldn't be. The people who should be glorified is the people who never went in there to begin with. The people,
the real OGs, they know what it's all about, and they know it ain't nothing to be glorified.
But Pimp C said one time, he was like, "You ain't shit for going to jail. That means you got caught. The point is, you're not supposed to get caught. But that's the thing. It's like, what you doing? Like being a hustler, being a dope dealer, that type, having money, pimping hoes. That's really what's idolized, and jail is a penalty for that. But it's like, why is this being prosecuted? Because Pfizer make pills all day. Johnson & Johnson, they make pills all day. They make drugs like heroin and crack. That's perfectly legal. You know what I'm saying? They got, in Las Vegas, they got free prostitution, all of that. Perfectly legal. You can do it if you feel like it. Turn the mirror around and prosecute certain people.
Right, got you. We're going to switch on down to K Dizzle. K-Dog. K-Dog worked at a little facility for a few years. What's your interpretation of the prison system, K-Dog? Would it work? Or
I didn't work at a few different facilities, and also have done the mental health side of it also, like what Dot said, began my career in corrections, began at Wackenhut. It was a big facility, different lockdown areas. I kind of saw a lot just getting into corrections at the beginning. Saw a lot, learned a lot, moved on from Wackenhut to another facility. That was a smaller facility, but it was Louisiana owned, Louisiana Correctional Center, which was in Basile. Worked there for about a year and a half, and then moved down to Lafayette and started working at St. Martin Correctional Center, and stayed in corrections for about a total of 7 years. If you add up my time of corrections and also my time working with mental health and addictive medicine. So I saw a lot. In fact, when I was in Lafayette, I worked at the Lafayette Juvenile Correctional Center, Lafayette Juvenile Detention Center. So, I was able to see from young kids all the way to probably 80-year-old men that were incarcerated. I know I always try to make a change in somebody's life, try to influence somebody not to make the wrong decision, not to make that wrong choice again, and try to do right, even if it was a younger kid or if it was an adult. Some people that we know that have been in the system for a substantial amount of time, we call them I can't think of the word I was just thinking about. Convicts, or the institutionalized. That's the only life they've known their entire life. So, and it's the life they're used to. It's the lifestyle that they live. I think that with Doc bringing this question up, man, it's a lot of our youth out there that just need to be told that they're loved. It's a lot of our youth out there that need to be told that they're doing something positive. So many of them turn to the streets because that's the only father figure they've had. That's the only person they have in their life is the streets. So they do that type of growing up to where that's all they know is that street life. Mm-hmm. I think if more of us were to stand up and let these young men or these young women know, you're loved, you're something special out there. There's more to life than just doing these things that you're doing that can get you in a whole lot of trouble. But as far as me working in a correctional institution, I've done it. I mean, I can remember having an inmate who on weekends was let out to go and play in his band, you know. But I mean, it's just, you know, if we're gonna talk about it and if we're gonna try to make changes with the younger generation, the best thing we can do is let them know another lifestyle. Let them know something else that they can do.
Right. Okay, then. That's all good, K-Dog. Let's go down to you, G-Money.
Look, dog, that's a good question. Like I say, dog, it's transparent. It's definitely something that, you know, may step on some toes talking about personal experiences. But, you know, hey, I got nothing to be ashamed of. My past is my past. If somebody, I said this to you earlier this week, bro. If somebody want to talk about my past, they like it so much, write a book. You heard me? Right. Make a move. I'll buy a ticket. You know what I'm saying? It's over with. It's in the past.
Right.
Thing I say over and over again about it is that we can learn from. We can learn from. And like K-Dog put real well, we need to be able to be transparent about things that we've been through in order for the younger generation to see, you know, what they should or should not do from our faults. So, you know, on the topic of prison, I worked for a parish jail, and I had that experience on both sides of it because I've actually been in a parish jail in the past for some mistakes that I've made, as we all have had mistakes. So I've got to see both sides of it, and specifically talking about my experience in there. Didn't spend very long time in there, you know, just, you know, misdemeanor things. But honestly, when you look at it on my point of view, my perspective, it was a rock bottom type of situation. It was like, man, you didn't really fell victim to your mistakes. You know, you got caught. Yep. And you got to come to a realization that if you continue doing this is the route that your life gonna go. And it won't just be a slap on the wrist this time, next time. It could be something prolonged. It's not a place I want to be. I love my freedom. But it's one thing that you put about what you seek when you go to a place like that. You seek freedom. You want an outlet. You want something to take you away from that place. And that's why a lot of times people do seek their faith. I know the Muslim religion is huge in penitentiaries. They get into that and it, you know, they pray. It's a real devout type of religion that they have a lot of practices on what they eat and how often they pray.
Ramadan.
Yeah, so basically what I mean to say about that is it changes the environment mentally in their head. And, you know, when you have that opportunity to grasp onto something that'll give you an outlet for the situation that you in, you cling to it. Whereas when you was in that world, as they say, that was the furthest thing from your mind, your faith, your religion, you know. And some people find that kind of like, you know, you just doing that because you in here or because you got caught. But what better place to do it is when you at rock bottom. What better place to seek all forgiving Savior is when you didn't fail victim to your sins or circumstances that you done created for your life. There's no better time to do that. You know, people think church is full of angels. No, church is full of sinners, just like the world. So, you know, when people go to jail and they seek their faith, man, I give them all the props in the world because, you know, that's the time. This is the time. If you don't do it now, B-Dot put it, it could be hell on earth for you. You know, you don't want your eternal existence to be hell. So seek him now while you still have warm blood pumping through your veins. You know, that's something I always used to say. And just transition into when I worked there in that environment. I had an opportunity, like K-Dog said, to see a lot of repeat offenders come through. A lot of people that were becoming institutionalized and got accustomed to the lifestyle of being in jail. Like it kind of dummied down experience of it almost, because it didn't bother them as much as it should. You know, jail should be a rehabilitation thing. And Kabi said it. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it just institutionalizes a person to a degree, and they just become accustomed to doing the monotonous things that go on in jail, fighting every day, eating trash food, you know, just having to steal for the different things that they want. It's an animalistic environment. It's an animalistic environment, and it's not nowhere you want to be. But Doc, to answer your question, what my experience has taught me about it, two things. It's going to be either a rehabilitation that goes on and a change that occurs mentally, or it's going to be an institutionalized thing that goes on. And you'll either stay the same, or you'll go to different direction. You'll just get worse. It has to be an awakening when that situation goes on. Not to say you're never going to make some mistakes again, but to say, man, something's got to change. I've been sat down for a while. You know, we talked about this the other day, man. Everything happens for a reason. I think in that situation, that happened in your life for you to change something for the better. And that's just the way, my take on it, and how I see, you know, the prison system. As far as culturally, it is glorified in songs and music and movies, like it ain't that bad, or it's something that we should be put on a pedestal for enduring. Man, endure going to work every day, taking care of your kids. Man, it's something you can't do in jail. You know, endure being a good father, you know, paying bills, you know, endure that. And we need to glorify things like that and put that on a pedestal instead of putting the jokes on a pedestal, as a lot of our culture has begun to do.
All right, great answers. So the reason why I brought the question up to y'all, I worked at a facility for 6.5 years. I made my way all the way up to shift commander. You know, I know both sides. I know the streets, and I know the inside of what's going on. You know, I had all kind of different gangs coming up to me, asking for favors, and like the Aryan Brotherhood, you know, the white boys, and you got the black guerrillas, you got Shreveport, you got New Orleans. I mean, what else? You got Deuce, you got Pyru out of Baton Rouge. And I'm just seeing a lot of our people, the culture. We're going to talk about the culture. I think when you're going to moderate, is culture is basically killing our people. And the real OG, they understanding what's going on. I'm understanding, you know, these guys, they glorify that prison life. And once they get there, you know, it ain't all what it is, bro. Like these guys, they get, you know, I don't want to say it like that, but they getting fucked up their ass by older inmates. And it's a bad deal, bro. Now, I'm kicking real knowledge. I can tell so many stories, you know, as a captain. Like at night, I was a night shift captain. I was like I had 1,500 inmates, and I had 44 officers that had, you know, I was in command of. And a situation might happen at home where like this guy's son might have drowned in his pool. Now he's locked up. He got like 15 years. And, you know, his people called. They said they want to speak to the warden on duty. Where at night, I was basically the warden on duty. And they got to tell me, you know, can you tell inmate Williams that his son just drowned, you know, in a swimming pool? Now, this dude out there shooting basketball, having fun, kicking it with his boys. Now, I got to walk down there and break the news to him that, hey, you know, I got to pull him in a little room and tell him, you know, like, I've seen grown man break down like a baby. You know, you see a lot of stuff on the inside of that place. And like you say, you got the Muslims, they find God. And, you know, God is in prison. You can believe it or not. Some people think, well, God, the only place God's at is in the church house. You got to be holy. No, God is walking down in prison walls. You're going to find God in a correctional facility, you know, quicker than you can find him in the church house, because he's there. And a lot of them guys, they find God, they get their life straight, and they move on. They get out and they never come back. But some of them get out, they go back to the game, back to the hustle, and it's just a big circle, you know. And that's what we're trying. That's why I want to bring the podcast to this topic, so maybe when somebody listening can hear and, you know, make comments, and maybe we can reply back to them.
Word, man. Thank you for bringing that topic up, bro. It's all about plowing through life and plowing a good way. You know what I'm talking about? Dropping on some good seed and giving ourselves a a fruit that's produced from it, man. Good topic, man.
Street game, locked in the game, locked in the game. Outcasted from my family, it seems like the world don't understand me. Baby, can't we all get along?
Thanks for watching the Plowboi podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think about the justice system and incarceration.